What's up, everyone? We are live, and today's topic we are going to be talking about meals and specifically tax deductible meals at the hair salon or at the barbershop. Going to be myth busting here a little bit. So, if you've ever wondered, hey, I'm at the hair salon and I'm hungry since I'm at work and it's during work hours, let me order myself some food and let me see if I can write this off as a tax deduction, then this video is for you because I see that a lot. It's not tax deductible, but I'm going to explain why and what can be a tax deduction when you are a self employed hair professional and you're trying to understand the write offs when it comes to business meals. Um, my name is Jennifer Drew. I am the founder and CEO of Hair CEO. We are a business advisory and accounting firm helping self employed hair professionals and hair business owners become more legitimate, profitable, and bankable through accounting services and tax services. I am doing this series called 2026 Tax Talk, where I am going into different topics from January all the way until the end of March, just to help you get prepared for the filing season. And today's topic, like I mentioned, is all about business meals. So, working with hair professionals and in the beauty industry, you always have some funny stories. So, I have had many people contact me and ask or assume that just because they are working all day during the lunch hour, that lunch is a tax deduction for them. So I've had people ask or say, well, I order meal services to be delivered to the salon because I'm working during my lunch break and I need to eat. So I pay for it with my business credit card or I pay for it with my business bank card because I'm eating it at work. Like, how is it not a business deduction if I'm literally eating it while I'm doing business? Well, that is not the definition of a tax deduction. That just because you're eating it while you're doing business does not make it a tax deduction. I've also heard of people saying, well, I I don't normally work on the weekends. And so, because I have to open up my salon or my barbershop on the weekend, I treat myself to breakfast in the morning and it's a tax write off because I am feeding myself in order to go to my business. And no, that's wrong. So, if you're asking yourself, okay, well, what's tax deductible then? Like, what's a business meal? A business meal is tax deductible, really in kind of two different categories. I like to think about it. You have meals where you are with, well, first off, before I say that, when it comes to business meals, just like anything else that is tax deductible, you want to make sure it passes the is this ordinary and is this necessary for my business. So you want to make sure it passes that test. And so when it comes to you, figuring out if something is tax deductible, go through that checklist first. But when it comes to business meals, if you are in your home state, right, you're not traveling anywhere, and you would have to eat normally, right? Then it's not going to be a tax deduction because from the IRS's perspective, you had to eat anyway. That is a natural thing that you have to do to stay alive. So you are not going to get a tax deduction for something that you were going to do automatically. Now, if you are traveling for business purposes and you eat while you're there, now it's tax deductible because, again, in the IRS's eyes, okay, you're traveling for business. That's not something that you would have normally been forced to do, go out and buy something to eat because if you were home, you would essentially make your own food at home, right? So the IRS is saying, okay, because you're traveling for business and you still have to eat, then we're going to give you a deduction for that. And currently, for this tax filing season, meals are 50% tax deductible. So this is not something that you can get written off at 100% if you take yourself out to eat. Now, that's not true for some other years. And that's why it's important that you work with a tax professional, because during COVID, the tax code encouraged you to eat at restaurants. And so some of those tax deductions were 100% tax deductible, but now it's 50% tax deductible. And that is a way for you to use that as a tax deduction, right? So you're traveling for business. That's a big one. Now, when you are by yourself, it's still going to be important to make sure that you have your receipts. And shout out to Tara for this one. Tara is EA, an enrolled agent here at Hair CEO, and she is in the chat moderating. So if you have any questions while I'm going through this, drop them in the comments. She's going to take great care of you. She is our resolution kind of like hat, right? She's going to make sure that if anything that we write down on that tax return, she's going to make sure it's defensible to the IRS. Like, that's her specialty. And so she was making sure, all right, Jennifer, if you're going to talk about these tax deductible meals, make sure you tell people that you have to write on the receipt information like, what was the meal for? Now, if you're traveling by yourself, just write on there, owner traveled, for business purpose. And so this is a meal for yourself. And you can document the business like trip, the purpose of the trip. You can write that in. But if you are, let's say that's if you're by yourself, like that's how you can write off meals by yourself if you're traveling, and then it's 50% right now for the tax year. Now, let's get to these business meals that a lot of people hear about, where you are meeting with a business partner, or maybe you're eating out with a client. Okay, now that is a business purpose. Now that can be a tax deductible meal. And let's say you are with a client, and I have a client that was doing this. He would take his clients out for meals every once in a while, and he would pay for it, and it's a tax deduction. On that receipt, you want to make sure you document who you were with, what you talked about, business related, and make sure that's something that is on the receipt for documentation purposes, because you want to have it in the event that the IRS asks you more questions about this business meal. Another thing that people talk about is staff meetings. Like, let's say you have a barbershop or a hair salon, and you have staff, whether they are employees, contractors, or whatever, and you're buying meals for the barbershop or the hair salon, then yes, that's going to be tax deductible. And in that scenario, it's actually 100% tax deductible, not just 50% tax deductible at the time of this recording of video. I want to be clear about that, because of course you always want to make sure that you are working with a tax professional, because depending on when you're watching this, laws change all of the time, and you want to make sure you are listening to, or just being told something that is currently active in the tax code. But in that sense, it would be tax deductible 100%. So to give you an idea, I don't know how many people know this, but I used to own a hair salon. No, I do not do hair. You don't want me doing no one's hair. I just owned it. Okay. So at my hair salon, what I used to do, there would be Saturday mornings when we would get orange juice, we would get donuts, we would get pastries. And this was something that the salon paid for from our, business credit card. And we made it available to all of the clients and the staff. For me, 100% tax deductible. I did this every Saturday, right? Like, clients knew that was just the case. Every Saturday and every Sunday, there was going to be some orange juice. There was going to be pastries, donuts, breakfast. And then for special holidays at the salon, We would do things like cupcakes, or we would do wine down Wednesdays. That was something we did for a little bit. Again, 100% tax deductible, because these were things that I was doing at the salon for my clients and for my staff. And so in that, that's 100% tax deductible. Um, Now, for those purchases, I would still have to write down, okay, wine down Wednesdays on the receipt, or, Saturday brunch, Saturday lunch, Sunday brunch, Sunday lunch for clients, for staff, making sure that I'm documenting that for tax purposes. I want to ask Tara in the comments, keep me honest. Am I missing anything? Because I know we talked about this before. Yes, party appreciation events. Retreats are all 100% tax deductible. Thank you so much for saying that. Oh, this reminded me, there was a time when someone called me. I think they were like interviewing me. Just like, you should interview your tax professionals. If you're going to be working with someone, you want to make sure it's a good fit for you. But this person called me up, and honestly, she wasn't a good fit for me. I don't know what she thought, but I did not send her a proposal. She was like, "Yeah, I'm looking for a tax professional that's going to help me write off my Starbucks runs." What do you mean? Let's break that down. What are you talking about? Well, I go to Starbucks every morning, and I need to find a way to make that tax deductible. So I start asking her questions. And she was like, well, I drink coffee and it's for content creation. Okay, no, sorry, can't write that off. You want to drink coffee. She just wants to drink Starbucks coffee, and she was just trying to find a way to make it tax deductible. And based on the questions that I asked her, I couldn't substantiate that. And so I was just like, well, I'm not the tax professional for you, because we're not going to be writing off daily Starbucks runs. I want to make sure, are there any questions in the comments related to this? Because I want to make sure it's clear that what is tax deductible and what's not tax deductible for meals. And just as like a recap, I put some stuff up here on the board so that a little test, right? Lunch at the salon, if you're by yourself and you're working through lunch and you're hungry and you do Uber Eats or DoorDash, or you run across the street to the carry out or something to get you something because you're hungry, is that tax deductible? No, that's not going to be tax deductible. But let's say you are with a client and you're taking the client out for lunch and it's your treat. Is that going to be tax deductible? Yes, it is going to be tax deductible, but you want to make sure that you are documenting it with the receipt, writing down who'd you have lunch with, what did you guys talk about for business purposes. Of course, just throw some business in there, right? Make sure that is documented. This is the same thing with staff or clients, like meals. I'm thinking lunch with a client, like if you're at the salon, right? This is here if you're going out, like meals going out. So if you are with staff or with clients, then yes, this is going to be tax deductible. And again, you want to make sure that you are documenting it with the information on the receipt. Meals while traveling. This is what I talked about. If you are trapped, not if you're just on vacation. I'm not talking like that. I'm not saying you're going out to Vegas for, a bachelorette party or, a girls trip. No, that's not tax deductible if it's not business related. Now, if you're going to find a way to make it a business trip, by all means, I support that for sure. So if you are traveling for business purposes and you have to eat by yourself, yes, that's still going to be tax deductible, 50%. And you just want to document on that receipt that you were traveling for business and this was a meal while you're traveling. So we're going to say yes to that one. And then your daily coffee fix from Starbucks or whatever your favorite coffee place is. And it's just for you because that's your habit. No, not tax deductible. So yes, next time you wonder if you can eat at the salon just because you're hungry, even if it's dinner or lunch or breakfast. I don't care. You can do it super early. I know a salon that opens up at 5 o'clock in the morning. Doesn't matter. Now, if you're gonna bring breakfast for everybody, yes, awesome. Okay, let's make it tax deductible. But remember, guys, it's not always about what we can spend our money on. Because if you're spending money every day, bringing in lunch because you're gonna feed the salon just because you want to have something that's tax deductible, remember that's less money in your pocket. So weigh the pros and cons of this. Like, is it really so important that your business pays for you to eat every day? Or is it more important that that money is going in your pocket at the end of the day? So make sure you're wise with it, and make sure you understand that if you're going to use it as a tax deduction, that you are substantiating it with receipts and with a note on what the business purpose was, who you're with, so that it can be defendable if you're ever audited through the IRS. My name is Jennifer, and again, I am the CEO and founder of Hair CEO. If you are a hair professional, self-employed hair professional, or hair business owner, and you want help with your taxes for either 2025 filing, the 2026 filing season, or any other prior seasons, then I'm going to leave a link in the description. You can click that and to work with me and my team, and we'll be more than happy to help you with filing those taxes. Or if you're looking for a new accounting firm for bookkeeping or business formation, we do that as well. And I will see you tomorrow on the next 2026 Tax Talk.